Welcome back to another episode of The Great Debate. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, leave us a like, leave a comment, but let's go ahead and dive right in. This episode is going to be my thoughts on why I believe that Volk should not pursue an immediate rematch against Ilia Topuria. The first reason being is history. History has not been kind to featherweights who pursued immediate rematches. You can look at Jose Aldo, you can look at Max Holloway, and now the third example is going to be Volk. This is the thing we got to realize. If Volk wants to fight on the UFC Spain card and he wants to get back to his belt, he needs to take a particular road. He needs to take a path there that is not going to be immediate. The first thing is fight on the co-main event and let Ilia be the main event. He's the champion. He's going to be the main event anyway. And you fight somebody with a grappling background. Volk has not struggled with grapplers really in his UFC career. He was in a sticky situation against Brian Ortega, but other than that, he's really been able to dispose of people who had a grappling based approach, really outside of those few submissions that Brian attempted. Volk had his way with Brian Ortega in that fight. I believe maybe somebody like a Mobsar or someone of that nature, but anybody with knockout power, anybody who primarily wins fights by knocking people out, Volk should avoid them at all costs. That's the main reason he should not fight Ilia in a rematch. Ilia really didn't even go into his bag, for real. Ilia could have knocked him out. He could have decisioned him and beat him down, including some 10-8 rounds. And Ilia could have submitted him. I fear that if Volk pursues a rematch, he will get knocked out again, or he might get submitted this time, actually. That would be the nail in the coffin. Because that would just be terrible, because he's been able to escape so many different submissions with Brian Ortega, and even when Islam had his back, he wasn't able to get him. But the difference would be if Ilia pursued a submission, he will probably drop Volk first, and Volk would try to show some heart and survive it, and Ilia would just submit him and ragdoll him, truth be told. And then that would just be like, it's over. You know, you get knocked out now, and you're getting submitted. And the thing is this, fight somebody who's respectable, formidable, but beatable. You don't have to fight world killers. You don't have to fight these people who are so dangerous and so tough. This is about getting momentum and getting your confidence back. You can't let your ego get in front of your confidence. History continue to repeat itself. Why do we study history? So that we can avoid history repeating itself. So if you just had all these former champions who all held the status of greatest of all time, and they all went down the same exact way, why would you go down the same exact path and more than likely get the same results? If Volk was different, if Volk was really going to be the one to break the cycle, he wouldn't have lost to Islam twice. The proof is in the pudding. He already done lost to somebody twice. Why wouldn't he be able to lose to another person twice? Somebody who's arguably more dangerous. Realistically, Islam is a submission threat, a decision threat, and a knockout threat. Ilia is a submission threat, a decision threat, and a knockout threat. And he seems to be even more hungry when it comes to pursuing finishes like that, because he don't really be pursuing the takedowns like that. He really just got that El Matador boxing style, and he really just head hunting, body hunting, leg kick, breaking you down. He's too hungry. He's too hungry right now. He got an entire country supporting him. Real Madrid, they just gave him a shout out on their Instagram. They're the most followed professional sports team on the globe, and they're giving him a shout out. This man got so much momentum and so much drive and ambition right now. Right now, he's a tank. The smartest thing for Volk to do is to let somebody else fight in the main event against Ilia and let them go and possibly expose a weakness. Let them possibly go out there and go to war with Ilia. Let Ilia go out there and maybe show some type of deficiency, or let him go out there and fight somebody and possibly get dropped and let his chin get touched up a little bit, something, anything. But don't go out there chasing that immediate rematch, because what happens is these guys, they go on these long win streaks, they're used to winning. Your brain is used to winning, right? It's almost like an addiction almost. You're not used to losing, so you keep pursuing that W, and it's almost like chasing a cat. Every time you get close to it, it just goes somewhere else. You get close enough to it again, it just goes somewhere else. You can never really catch it. The thing is, when you chill and you sit down, start doing something else, that's when it want to come around you. The thing is, Volk, he got to let his ego be pushed to the side. I hope that his coaches are not telling him to go and pursue an immediate rematch. Eugene, Behrman, and all those guys at City Kickboxing need to be telling him to chill. Don't pursue the immediate rematch. But you know, the thing is, they're going to make him pursue the immediate rematch, because Izzy pursued the immediate rematch against Alex and he won. And so that's going to encourage him to actually go out and pursue the rematch with Ilia. And that's going to be the nail in the coffin. I'm telling you right now. It could happen. Izzy, he was able to get his rematch and he was able to win. But Izzy was due a win because he had some tough fights and some close fights with some funky endings against Alex several times. So he was due a win. That ain't like they only fought once and then that happened. Nah, he been going back and forth with this man for years. Right now, Volk is getting older. At this moment, Volk is 35 years old. That doesn't mean it's the end of his career or anything like that. I see the jokes on Twitter about when you turn 35. Yeah, it plays a factor, but they doing a little bit too much over there. The reality is, Volk is getting older. He's been in some tough fights. You know, damage accumulates. And at some point, you get your cherry popped. And if you don't approach it the right way, people gonna keep touching that chin. And this could turn into the Tony Ferguson thing. This could turn into the BJ Penn thing. You know, in those lower weight classes, these guys, they keep trying to go out on their shield and they keep trying to get their belt back, and then they get further and further away from the belt. I'm thinking about Renan Barao. He was on a huge win streak. You know, you talk about a fall from grace. These lower weight classes, the game is not kind to these guys. Renan, he lost to TJ Dillashaw. He fought Mitch after that. It wasn't an immediate rematch, but he fought TJ again. But TJ just had his number. It's just not a smart thing. I remember Cody Garbrandt. Undefeated. You lose to TJ Dillashaw. What does he do? Okay, I want to fight him again. What happened? It's over. Now you went from being undefeated or undefeated for so many fights. Now you on this losing streak. You spiraling out of control. Now you get to the point where anybody can just knock you out. Now you're getting submitted. Now at this point, they're giving you lesser competition and you still can't beat them because your confidence gone. And then these guys go from being legends to people who we have to remind the fans that these people used to be the greatest in the world at their weight class at one point in time. Because the new generation comes along and they don't see you as that person who was on that win streak. They don't see you as that person who was unknockoutable, unsubmittable. You know, they see you as a person getting knocked out, submitted, beat up by Starbucks workers at this point. I wouldn't pursue the immediate rematch if I was Volk. I hope his team let him know, take the co-main event, fight somebody else. Even if Ilia was to win his fight and Volk wins his fight, if people say, well, Volk ain't the real champ because he didn't beat Ilia, who cares? If people say that Volk isn't the real champion because he didn't beat Ilia to get his belt back, who cares? Ilia will have to work his way back into a title fight just the way Volk did, you know? So that's the way the game go. The game ain't kind to none of these guys. That's just a fact. It don't matter how many fights you won. It don't matter how dominant you were. Look at Kamaru losing streak right now. Who would have thought that? A lot of these guys getting pushed out of the pound for pound list right now. We're seeing the end of an era. And it all starts with when you lose, how do you shake back? Do you take a smart fight in the next fight, or do you let your ego get in the way and your pride get in the way and you try to get it? You know, we're men. Somebody beat us, we want to get them back. Sometimes you got to go back to the drawing board and carve out a more strategic and calculated way to get what you want. But that's all I got for you for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Like the video. We setting up a Patreon and a Discord. And follow us on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. Let's go ahead and keep building this thing up. We appreciate y'all, and y'all have a good one.